This video brought to you by True Crime and Justice TV online at www.truecrimeandjusticetv.com. Today we're diving into some serious business transnational repression. It's a fancy term for something straight out of a spy movie. Basically, it's when governments try to silence their critics who've fled to other countries. Think intimidation, threats, even violence, all happening beyond their borders. Not cool, right? Imagine this. You criticize your government, things get a little too hot, and you have to flee to another country for safety. You're thinking, phew, safe at last. But then, the threats start again. Only this time, they're coming from your home country, reaching across borders to shut you up. That's transnational repression in a nutshell. It's a global issue, and it's happening everywhere. Governments are using sneaky tactics to silence dissent and maintain their grip on power, even when their critics are miles away. It's a direct attack on freedom of speech, democracy, and the rule of law. We can't just sit back and let this happen. This ain't just some abstract concept, folks. Transnational repression is a growing problem worldwide. Authoritarian regimes are becoming bolder and more sophisticated in their efforts to silence dissent beyond their borders. We're talking about surveillance, harassment, arbitrary detention, enforced disappearances, the whole shebang. Think about journalists forced into exile, activists living in fear, and everyday people too scared to speak out against their governments. They're being targeted just for exercising their basic human rights. It's a chilling thought, right? And here's the kicker. It's not just happening in far-off lands. It's happening right here in our own backyard. Canada, the land of the free, is not immune to this insidious threat. In fact, there have been some pretty alarming cases recently that have brought this issue to the forefront. So, Canada's like, hold up, we're not having this on our watch. They've launched a public inquiry into foreign interference, specifically focusing on transnational repression. It's like a national soul-searching session to figure out what's going on and how to stop it. This inquiry was sparked by a series of high-profile incidents. We're talking about reports of Chinese police stations operating illegally on Canadian soil, allegations of Iranian government threats against Iranian Canadians, and concerns about Russian interference in Canadian elections. It's enough to make your head spin. The inquiry is a big deal. It's a chance to shine a light on these shadowy practices, hold those responsible accountable, and protect Canadians from foreign intimidation. It's about time. Section 4. Unmasking the Tactics, the Inquiry's Focus. This inquiry isn't messing around. It's going deep, investigating the methods used for transnational repression. We're talking about everything from online harassment and disinformation campaigns to more sinister tactics like threats against family members back home and physical violence. They're also looking into how foreign governments are using Canadian soil to carry out these operations. Are they using embassies and consulates as fronts? Are they recruiting Canadians to do their dirty work? These are just some of the questions the inquiry is trying to answer. The inquiry is also examining the role of social media and technology in facilitating transnational repression. It's a whole new world out there, and governments are using every tool at their disposal to silence dissent. Canada needs to get ahead of the curve and develop strategies to counter these threats. Section 5. The Erosion of Trust, Impacts of Foreign Interference. Transnational repression isn't just a problem for the individuals being targeted. It has far-reaching consequences for Canadian society as a whole. It erodes trust in institutions, fuels social divisions, and undermines our democracy. Imagine living in a country where you're afraid to speak your mind for fear of retribution from a foreign government. It creates a climate of fear and self-censorship, which is the antithesis of a free and open society. Foreign interference also has the potential to disrupt our elections and undermine our political processes. We need to be vigilant and protect our democracy from outside influence. The integrity of our institutions depends on it. Section 6. Safeguarding Democracy, a Call to Action. This inquiry is a wake-up call, folks. Transnational repression is a real and present danger, and Canada needs to take it seriously. We need to stand up for our values, protect our citizens, and send a clear message that this kind of behavior will not be tolerated on Canadian soil. The government needs to take swift and decisive action based on the inquiry's findings. This includes strengthening law enforcement agencies, enhancing cybersecurity measures, and working with international partners to combat this global threat. But it's not just up to the government. We all have a role to play in safeguarding our democracy. We need to be aware of the threat, report any suspicious activity, and stand up for our rights and freedoms. Together, we can make sure that Canada remains a beacon of hope and freedom for all. Stay vigilant, my friends.